Oh man, that's good stuff. Hey everybody, it's Austin from Lakeside Community Church, the Director of Youth and Adult Discipleship. I am so excited to be so close to the local trip. I hope that you and your students have this building excitement too. I'm looking forward to it immensely. Now, initially, I was really bummed that I had to postpone the Memphis trip. I was excited about going to Memphis and experiencing a city and a community that's much different from our own. I was excited about the work that we'd get to do, but all that we'll just wait until next summer and we'll get to have a great trip there. So when I made the call to postpone Memphis, I was initially bummed, but then I got to work right away on planning and thinking through what it would look like to do a local trip or to do something instead, to come up with an alternative experience. And I am really looking forward to this local trip because I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air after being in quarantine for so long. And I'm really hopeful that God is going to use this week to show us the power of community. At least that's been what God has been impressing on me this quarantine, is as Ellen and Patrick and I, and our dog Silas, can't forget the dog, as we've been kind of shut in at home for the last few months. You know, normally I'm introverted. I really like my alone time. Sometimes I can be a grumpy curmudgeon, but as I've been quarantined with my lovely little family, I've just had this deep impression that, man, we're made for community. Sometimes, as much as I get annoyed with people, and as like an introverted, gruffy old man I can be, gruffy, I don't think that's a word, gruff old man that I can be, I have a deep need to be with my church family, to be with my brothers and sisters in Christ. And so I hope that is something that you guys have been walking away with too, is that, yeah, the novelty of watching church from your couch at home maybe lasted a couple of weeks, but then after that, it kind of went away and we realized, man, we need our Christian community in a desperate way. God didn't make us to be lone wolves and isolated. He made us to be together in community, and God delights in that community. So it's out of that impression that God has been making on me that influences our theme for the week, which is together, that we are better together. God made us to be in Christian community, and that's a beautiful thing. So we're going to spend a lot of time this week talking about that, about what Christian community is and what it provides for us. And I'm really excited about what this week has in store. So normally I would have this parent meeting conversation with you in person, but out of respect for your time and maybe your desire to still be at home and be a little bit more cautious around the pandemic, I'm making a video version instead. So please watch this video all the way through, and if you have any questions afterwards, let me know, and we can talk individually, and hopefully I can clear things up if anything's left unclear after this video. I also want to give you a bit of the layout for the week so that you know what our week is going to entail. So we're going to begin every morning with time in the Word for devotions. I will be giving some of these devotions, but also these devotions will be given by some of the students. So they'll be sharing from the Word after they've been spending some time in study, and I'm looking forward to what they have to say. And we're going to end the day in the Word as well. So we're going to begin our day in the Word, we're going to end our day in the Word, and that's going to be a central and key part of our week, is spending time in the Word together, talking about what biblical community is and what it provides for us. Next, I want to talk about the work project. Now, some of these details are still being sorted out, and I am communicating with an opportunity, and some of the details are still being ironed out, so I can't give too much away yet. But we're going to be giving our two or three of our mornings throughout the week. We're going to be engaging in a service project where we can serve a need right here in our community. And I'm excited for that we don't have to go 1,000 miles away to serve God. We can do that right here in our backyard. So I'm excited about doing that with the students. Now next, we're going to be spending a lot of time doing games and activities. And really, we're going to be spending time reconnecting with one another. We haven't been able to go to church for the last couple of months. We haven't been able to have youth group for the last couple of months. Students have missed a couple of months of school and have had to do it online. We've missed sports. We've missed times to hang out with friends. We've missed proms and birthday parties and graduation open houses and just so many things. So what I'm hoping that this local trip provides is plenty of opportunity for students and leaders to reconnect, spend time with one another, and start to build those relationships and that sense of Christian community again. Now, I want to give you also the travel information. Again, this is unique because it's a local trip where we're staying at church, but here is our travel info. I would love if the students would arrive at church at 1 p.m. on Saturday, June 20. So we'll have students arrive, unload some things. We'll have a little bit of time for everyone to get unpacked and settled in, and then we'll kick it right off. And then the trip will conclude at 12 p.m. on June 26. So we'll wrap up, we'll have students pack up their things, and then the trip will conclude at 12. And then they can be on their way back to their own beds. Now, for the packing list, I have attached the packing list in the email that this video is in, but I want to highlight a couple of things off of that packing list. So give that packing list a look over, and if you have any questions, let me know. But here's some things I want to highlight on that packing list. So since we're staying inside the church, please plan on bringing things like an air mattress or a camping pad, if that would be comfortable. And then plan on bringing things like a sleeping bag and some sheets or blankets. Originally, I was hoping to spend some of the nights of the trip camping outdoors, but after thinking about it some more, I would rather take advantage of having everyone inside and we're able to space out a little bit more, because packing students and leaders into tents and camping outside just wouldn't be great for the whole social distancing thing. So I want to try to maximize the space, and we're going to be staying indoors. So please plan on things like an air mattress or a camping pad, and then a sleeping bag or sheets and a pillow. Next, if your student needs medications throughout the week, I would really appreciate it if you would include a note with those medications with the information necessary, like dosage, when it needs to be taken, is it taken with food, yes or no, etc. Just so that I'm on the same page. I want to make sure that if your student has medications, that they get those and get those when they need to. So I would like to be on the same page, so a note, just a simple note would be appreciated. And then last, I have a lawn chair written down on the packing list as optional. We're going to be doing a couple of campfires throughout the week, and so to make sure that everyone has a seat, if you have a lawn chair that you'd be willing to send with your student, that'd be great. I'm going to bring a handful of my own, but if you have one and you can send it, that'd be awesome. You know, one of the benefits of doing a local trip is that we don't need to worry about cargo space. You know, when we drove to Rhode Island, space was at a premium because we had a couple of rental vans that we needed to pack everything into. But this time around, we don't really have that concern. So if you can send a lawn chair, that'd be fantastic. I want to talk too about trip guidelines, and a lot of these guidelines are going to be the same for Providence, and they're the same for our Spring Hill trips. First, trip guideline is I'm not allowing phones. You guys should come to expect this by now, but I'm a firm believer in eliminating that distraction from an experience like this local trip. I know that there are some benefits to having phones, but I think that it's more important to just eliminate that distraction and allow students and leaders to just be fully immersed in the local trip and what God is doing through our time. I don't want the constant nagging of a phone vibrating in the pocket, or the desire to pull up Instagram and swipe or what have you, or to play a game, or to just retreat from the group so you can put your nose into your phone. I want to eliminate that so that we can just be immersed in what God is going to do through this local trip. If you have questions or concerns about this, you can reach out to me individually, but I'm a firm believer in no phones. I would also appreciate no funny business. I've had students in the past, like at my former ministry, try to get really creative or be really reluctant to hand over their phones, and I would just appreciate it if you guys would see my perspective and see the importance of eliminating that distraction, and you come along for the ride. Next, I have a zero tolerance for drugs, alcohol, tobacco, or weaponry on these trips. I don't think that this is going to be an issue, but I just want to put it out there and say that there's a zero tolerance policy for that. And if I find any of that stuff on the trip, then I'll talk to the parents and have them come pick the student up to bring them home. Next, I use this term, and I don't think it's very common, but I use the term no purpling. You know, no mixing of red and blue. We don't come on these trips to meet a boyfriend or girlfriend or to start dating relationships. We come on these trips to learn about who God is and what he wants from us, to learn about who we are, to engage in Christian community, and to serve the Lord together. So there's a lot of other more important things that we're engaged in this week instead of building these dating relationships. And so I would appreciate if emotional and physical boundaries would be respected and upheld. And then last, now this is a unique temptation related to the local trip, but if a student drives themselves to church, I'm actually going to ask that they hand over their car keys too. And I'm going to put myself in the student's shoes for a second and explain this a little bit. If I were at a local trip and I had my car in the parking lot and I had my keys in my pocket, there would be temptation for me late at night to get in my car, drive to Campaw Corner, buy a slushie, and then come back. As the leader and as the youth pastor of this trip, I would appreciate not having to worry about students going off on their own, unsupervised, doing their own thing. So for those students that drive themselves and have keys on hand, I'll just take those and keep them safe in my duffel bag just to make sure. And then if I need a student to drive somewhere, if we're going to a service project or to one of our off-site activities, then I can give those keys back and that student will be able to drive, if it's okay with the parents too. We can talk about that individually. So just to eliminate that temptation and distraction to go off-site unsupervised, I'll be hanging on to keys as well and then giving them back when necessary. I also want to talk about ways that you can pray for us. The family and youth pastor relationship is a collaborative one, because it's not just all on the youth pastor. We're in this together in raising up teenagers in the faith. This is a families and help from a youth pastor thing. And so I have some ways that I would love for you to pray for our trip this week. First, I would love it if you would pray that God would grow our understanding and our sense of community. I know for me, my youth group growing up was the place where I found the power and meaning of Christian community. And I would love it if you would pray that God would show that to our students, that our students would look at the youth group as a place where they can belong and a place where they can experience uplifting Christian community. So pray along with us that God would grow that sense of community. Next, I would love it if you would pray along with me that our service project would be a blessing. I'm hopeful that our service project will just show those in our community that we are invested and that we care about our neighbors and that we want to serve. So I would love it if you'd pray along with us that our service project would be a blessing to our community. And third, I would love it if you would pray that God would deepen the faith of our students through the time in the Word, through our time in community with one another, and through our conversations with one another. I just would love it if you'd pray that God would grow our sense of community and that we would have such a rich togetherness at youth group. So that's it for me. After watching this video, if you have questions, please let me know, and I would love to answer some of your questions. But if not, I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing everyone when we reconvene. Have a great day. Oh man, that's good stuff.